All right, today we're taking a trip to a place that's almost off the charts, a place where just staying alive is an incredible achievement. We're going to Yakutsk, the coldest city on the entire planet, to figure out how life is even possible when the world around you is literally frozen solid. Okay, let's get into it.
So just to wrap your head around that number, think about your freezer at home. That's probably set to, what, -15, maybe -20 degrees Celsius? Yakutsk can hit -70. This isn't just cold. It's a completely different reality where the air itself feels like it has weight, and the basic rules of life are rewritten.
I love this quote because it just hits you. A vlogger decided to hang some wet clothes outside. And in only 10 minutes, the air didn't just freeze them, it flash froze them. They got so brittle, they snapped just like a papadum. You know, that super crispy Indian flatbread. It's the perfect, crunchy example of what this kind of cold can do.
So here's our game plan. We'll start by diving into the daily life of this giant freezer. Then we'll get into how people actually survive here. We're going to look at the mind-blowing engineering that keeps the city from sinking, see how the cold has created a unique culture, and then we'll end with a pretty wild journey to a totally different kind of city.
First things first, let's just get a feel for the day-to-day weirdness of living in Yakutsk, where things you take for granted just don't work the same way.
You've probably seen videos of this. It's a famous trick up there for a reason. You take a pot of boiling water, hurl it into the air, and it never even comes close to hitting the ground as water. The cold is so extreme and the air is so dry that it instantly crystallizes into this beautiful, shimmering cloud of ice that just, poof, disappears.
And get this, even something as simple as a trip to the grocery store becomes a race against the clock. If you leave your bag of vegetables outside for just 5 minutes, they're done for. A bell pepper freezes so hard that if you drop it, it shatters like glass. And a banana, it pretty much turns into a hammer.
So when you're up against that kind of reality, you have to wonder, how in the world do people actually live here? Well, let's get into the masterclass in human adaptation that is life in Yakutsk.
Survival really starts with your clothes, and it's a total science. You can't just throw on a big coat. No, it's a system. You start with multiple base layers to wick away moisture. Then you add thick mid layers for insulation, and then come the heavy outer garments. By the time you're ready to go outside, that final layer alone can weigh more than 2 kilograms. It's basically like wearing a personal suit of armor against the cold.
And it's not just you that needs protecting. Your car has to survive, too. In a normal city, you park, you turn off the engine, you walk away. Simple. In Yakutsk, if you do that, the oil in your engine will freeze into a solid block, and that car is not starting again until spring. So you've got 3 options, none of them simple. Leave the engine running all day, every day, pay for a spot in a heated garage, or wrap your entire car up in what looks like a giant, expensive sleeping bag. And make no mistake, the danger here is very, very real. Being outside for more than 15 minutes at a time is a huge risk. Frostbite is aggressive. First, your skin gets red, then it goes completely numb. Next, blisters start to pop up. By stage 3, you're in serious trouble and recovery is tough. And if you get to stage 4, the tissue is gone and amputation is often the only choice.
Okay, so now we have an idea of how individual people survive. But let's zoom out. How do you build an entire city with apartment blocks and offices in a place like this? The answer is pretty incredible.
The whole city is built on something called permafrost. And this isn't just ground that's frozen for the winter. We're talking about a layer of earth, rock, and ice that is permanently frozen, year-round. In Yakutsk, that layer can be up to a kilometer thick. It's the foundation of everything.
So when you look around the city, you see something really strange. All the buildings are perched on these tall concrete stilts, and all the big pipes for heating and water are running above ground, not buried. So what's going on here?
Well, the answer is both simple and absolutely genius. If you built a nice, warm building directly on the permafrost, the heat from that building would melt the ground underneath it into a swampy mess. The building would just sink and collapse. So, by raising everything up on stilts, you let the frigid air circulate underneath, keeping the permafrost frozen solid and the city standing strong.
You know, this extreme environment isn't just about challenges. It actually creates a culture that is totally unique. Let's take a look at some of the really fascinating ways daily life has evolved here. I want you to picture a huge outdoor fish market. But there are no freezers. Not one. No ice chests, no refrigerators. Why? Because you don't need them. The entire market is the freezer. The outside air does all the work for you. The vlogger who filmed this was just blown away.
calling it the eighth wonder of the world. And you can see why. You have rows and rows of fish, all caught from local rivers, that are frozen solid almost the second they leave the water. They're stacked up like firewood, perfectly preserved by Mother Nature.
The people here have also leaned into the ice to create amazing attractions. There's a museum built inside the permafrost. It's like an underground kingdom carved right out of the ice. They've got an ice bar, an ice hotel room, even ice slides. And because permafrost is an incredible natural preservative, it's also where they find perfectly preserved skeletons of woolly mammoths from over 10,000 years ago. A single tusk from one of these giants can weigh a mind-boggling 55 kilograms.
All right, now I need you to prepare for some serious whiplash. The journey our source material takes us on makes a sudden, jarring turn from a city completely defined by nature to one that seems to want to defy it altogether.
And just like that, we leave the raw, survivalist world of Yakutsk and we land in Astana, Kazakhstan. This city is not about adapting to the environment. Oh no. This city is about imposing a hypermodern, almost sci-fi vision directly onto the land.
The architecture here is just wild. There's a giant glass pyramid with an opera house inside. There's a tower that looks like a giant golden egg sitting in a metallic tree. There's even something called the Khan Shatir, which is the world's biggest tent, and it holds an entire shopping mall inside. It's like a landscape designed to scream human ambition.
Officially, this city was built as a central place for world leaders to hold summits on peace and religion. But, as the source material notes, its very symbolic and futuristic design has just poured fuel on the fire for conspiracy theories that it's secretly the capital of a new world order, built with a hidden agenda.
And that really brings us to a fascinating final thought. We've seen Yakutsk, a city that showcases incredible human ingenuity because it was forced to adapt to nature's raw power. And then we get a glimpse of Astana, a city built to impose a human blueprint onto the world. It really makes you wonder, which path is right? Should we work with our environment, or should we try to bend it completely to our own will?